Hello and good evening to you all, and welcome back to the Arsenal Women's Chat Show, where we will be discussing tonight about the dreadful North London derby at the weekend, and obviously reviewing the Real Madrid game tomorrow at Meadow Park. So I'll introduce my guests who are on tonight. I'm still waiting on one coming in, so whenever he's here, I'll let him in. But hello, Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just about warmed up from Sunday's game now.
Yeah, I said it myself. I'm so glad that I was back home in my nice warm house, just watching it from the TV, and I felt sorry for the ones that genuinely showed up and got nothing absolutely out of the game. But we'll move on from it. We'll talk about it and we'll move on. As Arsenal says, we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we move. Same old from them. So it is. On to my next guest, Darren. You all right, buddy?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Gooners. I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
I'm shattered. I'm tired. I mean, it's only Tuesday and it's already been a bloody long week.
Yeah, I'm supposing you're going to the game tomorrow.
Well, yeah, oh God, yeah. Kev, are you going to be there, by the way?
Even longer than won't it? So,
you know, I'm an elderly man. You know, I mean, I know how beautiful looks to see that, but I've been through 2 divorces, and I'm thinking of divorcing Arsenal unless they buck up their ideas.
as most of us, I think, are on the same page, Darren.
I'm just mortified. I really am.
That moves me on to my next guest, Kev. You want to top Darren off?
Aye.
You want to top him off?
Oh, yeah, well, I've only been divorced once. Yeah, but I'm just a little bit older.
Just a little bit. I thought you were 21.
But yeah. And it wasn't that cold Sunday.
It wasn't cold, actually. I didn't think it was cold on Sunday.
I had a 2-hour ride home due to the Blackwall Tunnel being closed.
Oh, nice. What fun.
You don't
get
have
halfway to the Blackwall Tunnel, turn around and head out to Essex.
Yeah. Anyway, Kev, while I'm on it, it's a frustrating time at the Arsenal just now, isn't it?
Yeah. I know coaches talk about fine margins all the time, but fine margins is what it is. The width of a ball, the width of a post. I'm just waiting for our strikers to put the right pairs of boots on.
Yeah. So obviously we'll go on to the game and we'll obviously talk about it. I'll just go through the lineup first before we move on to obviously what went wrong and things like that. So obviously the lineup was Van Domsler, Fox, Lotte Wubben-Moy, Catley, McCabe, Mead, Cross, Caldente, Ford, Russo and Blackstenius. I'm just going to give people a very worrying stat about Caitlin Ford at the moment. And when I seen this stat, I was shocked. Considering the start that Caitlin Ford gave us last season and the performances, so far in this season, our performance just isn't up to par, just like most of the players at Arsenal just now. And this stat is 1 goal and 0 assists so far in this half of the season for Arsenal. That's a worrying stat, isn't it, Darren?
It's worrying, but it's not surprising. I mean, coaches do their homework. You know, they will examine and pour over previous performances from their opponents for probably about 2 to 3 days, if not up to a week before they face them on the pitch. Caitlin Ford, sadly, is no longer an anomaly. She is so predictable. We all know what she's going to do. She'll bomb down that wing. She'll do a step over. She'll try to cut in. I said this on a show a little while ago, actually, for the men's fans out there that might remember a guy called Marky Overmars. You know, he had rockets in his bloody boots, but we knew what he was going to do, and so did the opposition, and they just snuffed him out. And then, sadly, on that side, while we're talking about her, we might as well talk about her partner, Katie McCabe. You know, them two holding hands the whole frigging match for that job. They're both predictable, and we know what they're going to do. And when they're that far up the pitch, neither of them at the moment seem to want to track back, and that leaves a defence exposed. And there's no frigging midfield because they're so far up the field as well. But yeah, Caitlin Ford, I would not shed a tear if she went in the summer or at Christmas. I don't really care. She can go.
Yeah, I think I'd back you up on that one, Darren.
What I don't want to do for 60 minutes, though, is be negative about the whole team, because there were some good performances on Sunday. A few, not many, but there were a few. There is a glimmer of hope going forward. I don't know what Renee needs to do to tweak this, but for those that watched the 2 minutes and 12 seconds of highlights on the Arsenal website of Sunday's game, if you hadn't been to the game, you'd be thinking, we played well. We were just unlucky.
Yeah,
especially Olivia Smith in the second half. That shot was really good goalkeeping. But if you watch those highlights, you'd be thinking, what are these people talking about? We did all right. But it was the other 88 minutes or so where we were just dreadful. Tottenham knew what they were doing. They had a game plan. They stuck to that game plan. That Neville character, she winded me up so bloody much. Smirking up. I don't know, for those that are in the whatever end we was in, smirking at us all the time and just wiping her brow.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a game plan. They defended it well. They played it well. They frustrated the hell out of the Arsenal girls and the crowd, actually. The crowd really were quite lackluster in the second half. The first half and beforehand, we were really up for it. For those that were there, Paul, Kev, it was really quite loud, wasn't it? But second half, not so, because I think we started to feel the tension and the pressure that the girls were feeling on the pitch. And yeah, it was still lively and it was still going, but nowhere near to the same intensity as it was in the first half. But, this is an Arsenal show, and I hate to say this, but one must applaud Tottenham for their tactics. They got it spot on, and they frustrated the hell out of us, and we couldn't break them down. That's the key to what Rennie needs to find, because other teams, lower place teams, lower league teams as such, are always, this is not a secret. They've been doing it forever and a day. They will put in that low block or that mid block against us. And the secret is for us to break it down. And time again, we failed to do it. Yeah.
We struggle in that low block, don't we? And before obviously I move on, I'll say a few hellos in the comments. Hello, Catherine. I hope you're doing well. I know you're only listening. The better looking Wells brother is in the comments. Appreciate. I hope you're well. We have the good old. He claims he's a Chelsea fan, but he wears an Arsenal top more than he does a Chelsea top. Gav, I hope you're well. Obviously, he says that the dreadful. We know that, we've seen it, and of course, we know there was no passion at all from us. But yeah. Obviously, I'll touch on a few more things and try not to be too negative. There is a couple of positives in there, but I can only do what I'm obviously.
And this is the team. Gabby's bloody giving us lots of shit at the moment. This is the same team that showed Chelsea how to play football at the second half of the Emirates, and we were so unlucky not to win that.
Yeah,
yet then we got them, a frigging shit team. And they turned us into shit as well. We're better than this.
Yeah. So obviously the stats for the game were 45% possession to Spurs, 55% to Arsenal, as you touched on, Darren. If you look at the stats, you would think Arsenal had a brilliant game, but of course when you're watching that, or if you're in the stands, it's not very good. But it was Spurs 4 shots to Arsenal's 13. 2 on target to Arsenal's 4, 8 touches in the opposition box to Arsenal's 41. Paul, those stats, as Darren says, looking at those stats, Arsenal should have really went on to win that game, shouldn't have?
Speechless.
Speechless.
The stats speak for themselves that we should have won it, but it was very frustrating. And you watched in that second half when Olivia Smith kept running down the wing, and she was looking in what she could do with the ball, and there was either Russo or Stina in the box, and everyone else was hovering outside the box. So she had a choice to make. Do I cross it in and hope to get on someone's head, but there's 6 or 7 Spurs defenders around them, or do I pass it back? And then if she passed it back, it ended up probably with Daphne, and it starts again. So that was the frustrating part for me, was we were getting that ball forward, and there just wasn't the support in there for the wide players to get it in. If you've got that, 3 or 4 players in the box, you've got a bit more of a chance of getting your head on the ball, or even the chance of being brought down and claiming a cheeky penalty.
Yeah.
But if you're not there, you're not going to have that chance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and you're not going to have that chance if you don't create the chances in the first place, are you? So that's a problem we have at the moment at Arsenal. It's creating those chances, and it's something we seem to talk about regularly on this podcast show at the moment, is creating those chances. But obviously there's players out there that just aren't up to par, and I'm going to try and get that out of the way before it does become a negative podcast. So obviously there's one player that everyone's currently noticing at the moment, and it's Katie McCabe. Kevin, I'll come to you with this question. She seems frustrated at the moment, and there was rumours, obviously, on Sunday that she kicked the ball out the stadium, and it was visibly noticeable that she was frustrated. What do you actually think is going on there with Katie McCabe at the moment?
I think they're all frustrated because they're not getting the results. But Katie's Irish, and she's going to let that out. As we all know. And we knew before the game started, because a certain Heaslip was refereeing. You knew Katie was going to get a yellow card before the game started.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she just lets it show too much. She doesn't hold her emotions very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is frustrated, and well, so am I.
I think
I personally think Taylor Hines should be starting in front of Katie anyway.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
I read a comment on one of the many groups that we all belong to about Katie and her frustration over the weekend. And I can't remember exactly verbatim, but it was along the lines of Katie was frustrated because there was one point where she was having a few issues with the referee, and she looked around for the leadership team and they were nowhere to be seen. And that was a pop at Steph Catley for not getting involved as the captain on the day, leading the teams and sorting out the issues on the pitch. That may have well been the incident that led to Katie kicking the ball out of the stadium. I actually missed that, and I was at the ground, and I didn't see that.
Oh, I cheered.
I missed that. But so she was obviously frustrated with the lack of leadership on the pitch as well. No Leah, no Kimmy, and I don't know what the order of batting is after that. Whether it's Steph and then Katie and whoever it is, I don't bloody know. But there's so many captains at our club; it's unbelievable.
I'm just going to say that. Sorry, Darren. Katie is one of the leaders, and that should have been a better example in terms of maybe her looking for another leader to back her up. She's a leader herself. She'd have been able to back herself up in that situation. But the thing is with Katie, we've seen it time and time again. She gives it too much of that instead of too much focus on a pitch. So she does, and it's becoming a bit frustrating for us fans constantly watching the constant that comes from her.
Laura, how many times over the last 3 to 4, maybe 5 or so shows have we heard Katie McCabe's name mentioned in a negative fashion? Quite a lot now, sadly. I can't remember the last time I said she had a wonderful game for the Republic of Ireland when she scored that wonderful hat-trick, which I'm sure you've all seen the goals, but she doesn't seem to be doing that or replicating that type of form on the Arsenal pitch, unfortunately.
Yeah. Paul, obviously we do seem to struggle to progress the ball forward and create opportunities in games when Leah and Kim aren't there. We're noticing that, aren't we? Like we're noticing that they're not there, and it's very clear. Obviously, Mariona's come out with a statement today that they're really struggling with their leaders, but they also have to accept the fact that they're not they're not there, and there's going to be games they aren't going to be there. And it's very clear that all we seem to do is when we're playing without Leah and Kimmy is forward, side, back. But so far forward to then go to the side, for the side to then pass it back to Van Domsler, as we've touched on. Do you agree with that? That it's noticeable that Leah and Kim are probably the ones that would probably like to drive the team forward?
They are, but I mean, these are all professional players, and they should all be able to adapt to not having these types of players in the team. You don't build a team around one or two players. You build a team around the whole 11 starting lineup. But obviously, people like Leah and Kim do bring a lot of experience, cool heads, and they have their own, in some cases, unique talents. The long balls from Leah over the top. Pinpoint, 99% of the time. And I know Katie Reid was trying to do it back earlier this season before she picked up the injury. Not quite as well as Leah does, but that is something that will come for her, I'm sure, when she's back. But these players do need to adapt. They need to work on something themselves. It's all right saying we missed these one or two players, but realistically, how much longer are we going to have Kim Little in our team? Let's be honest. Is it going to be the end of this season? Are we going to get one more season out of her?
I doubt it.
It's you've got to be planning for. We've already got life without Leah Volti. Now we haven't got Kim Little as well, and you need these other players to step up and step into their shoes. And I was watching. Obviously, Kyra started on Sunday. And 3 or 4 times she was trying to turn the ball and trying to go forward, but there was nobody available to pass it to. So as much as she was trying to get that ball forward in a way that Kim Little would, there was just no options open to her. So I don't know where the answer is there.
Yeah. Do you possibly think, Paul, that's maybe Kyra not being vocal enough like Kimmy would probably be? That.
Yeah, I mean, Kimmy does command the team quite well, and Leah at the back as well commands that defence brilliantly. And obviously that was Kyra's, I think it was her first start of the season, so there's possibly a little bit of rustiness in her for lack of game time with us. But, she maybe needs a run of 2 or 3 games, which could come now because we've obviously got Madrid tomorrow, and then after the international, is it Liverpool and Everton, and then a cup game. So it might be time for her to have a little run up until Christmas and just see how she gets on. I mean, she can't do any worse than what we've had recently. But then you also look at other players that we've let go. I mean, Freya Godfrey, for example, out on the wing, and we let her go in the summer. She's just had her first international call up after playing really well for London City. So it's not just the players we've got that need to step up. The coaching staff and the people at the club need to look at the talent that we've got coming through and not just sell them on or release them or whatever, just because you've got a household favourite that starts every week.
I suppose, obviously, I'll obviously touch on a little bit. Obviously, the video, I don't know, everybody's seen it in between here and the chat, that Leah's obviously back in full training, but obviously there's still a timeline on when she's going to be back. But Evan, that's got to be a positive sign that we're seeing Leah back in full training, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm hoping she'll be back for the Liverpool game. It's going to be touch and go, but it's probably going to be down to the staff to hold her back, because she'll be chomping at the bit to get back as soon as possible. And she would take a chance. Having said that, I mean, we're desperate for to have her back, but we're desperate to have her back for the rest of the season, not for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I did know something. Russo had a heavy strapping on her knee Sunday. So I think players are taking chances.
Yeah, as is Chloe Kelly as well. Like, I think Chloe Kelly's possibly only running on 75% fitness at the moment. And
Renee seems to think she's fully fit.
yeah, well, obviously, as we've seen today, the England call-up, that obviously now makes me question, is Chloe Kelly fully fit or is she not? That's a question I have over that situation, because as many people seen last night, obviously the Mr. Arsenal podcast was in the Highbury chat last night, giving it, she shouldn't be running from Baller League to she should be focusing solely on a game. Like, unfortunately, these players have a life outside of football, and unfortunately that's the thing she chose to do. But yeah, it's a question mark over that, isn't it, with Chloe Kelly? If she's fully fit, and if she's not.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, of course they are, but I think that's a rather moot point. You can't criticise Chloe Kelly for having, should we call it, a social activity outside of work? I mean, it's not exactly, it's not strenuous, is it? Stood on a bloody touchline, I should say. So I don't agree with that one. But again, I'm not going to criticise other people for what they want to say. But I have seen that Chloe Kelly has been, getting a little bit of negative criticism over the last day or two. It's not her fault she only come on for 3 bloody minutes. That if she's fully fit, then Renee, what the friggin' hell are you doing? One of the best game changers in the English game, I should say. And she sat on the bench for 87 minutes. I really can't fathom that one at all. Yeah.
In terms of obviously talking about subs there, Darren, do you think the subs that came on, if they had started, maybe would have impacted the game differently on Sunday?
Well, Sunday maybe, but I mean, let's just go back one, if I may. I mean, the subs against, oh my God.
Bayern.
Who? Bayern, thank you. Just pull me out of a tight spot there. Thanks, bud. That really had a negative impact on the game, and we all know that, but move on from that game. Do you know what? I think we could have made 11 subs on Sunday, and it probably wouldn't have made too much difference because the setup was always the same. The substitutions, unless somebody violently wants to disagree with me, from my opinion, were like for like. They didn't change the impact of the game. They didn't change the way we were trying to negate the low block and the mid block that Tottenham had set up. Nobody really come on with, other than Olivia Smith, which Paul mentioned a little bit earlier on, bombing down that wing. And she was, very good. There wasn't really much support for her. So I don't know. Paul, I wanted to ask you a question when you was talking, actually, if I may, because most of the time when I'm at the games, I get a little bit lost and I don't necessarily always follow the tactics. I'll get taken away with other things. And you're like a professor of the game, if you don't mind me saying. You watch what's going on. Was KCC any good on Sunday? Because I heard what you were saying, but I don't think she had much of a game at all. I could be wrong.
Well, obviously, before you answer that, Paul, that I'll bring that on to you, a question about that. Personally, for me, Kyra Cooney-Cross's last 2 performances haven't been great. Defensively, they've not been great. Like, she came on against Bayern, her defensive work was poor. The only thing that made her stand out to me was she wanted to push forward, but as you touched on earlier on, she was going forward and no one was there. But against Bayern, she wasn't convincing for me. I don't know if that's the same for the rest of the panel, but I'll ask you this one, Paul.
Oh, can I just say Vicky Pelova as well then? Because her last 2 games, she wasn't even there on Sunday. I don't know whether she was injured on the bench. I can't remember. But the last 2 games I've seen her play, she's been atrocious.
It seems our whole midfield just isn't there at the moment, and we'll gloss over the Bayern game, and Kyra wasn't. I don't think there was a single player there that was fantastic for the whole game. But yeah, on Sunday, like you say, she was trying to get forward, but there was just no options open to her. So yes, she's probably going to come in for some criticism. Yes, there were probably the odd pass that she could have made that possibly somebody like Kim, that's been in the team for years, could have made. But yeah, if you haven't got the player to pass to, what are you supposed to do? It's the same with Olivia Smith. She was bombing down that wing, but then no one to pass it to.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you've got Katie and Caitlin coming down the side and not even getting it into the box.
Yeah. Obviously, the whole game on Sunday was a bit of a letdown, especially for a North London derby. I could see myself by the second half. I was bored. Like a North London derby, you're supposed to be excited for it, and of course, the last run of games for Arsenal have been terrible. Obviously, not so much the Chelsea game. I thought we were fantastic at the Chelsea game, especially in the second half. But again, that still leaves a question mark over. Kevin, I'll come to you about this one. That still leaves a question mark over Renee. So do we think Renee is to blame, or is there just some lack of player commitment, especially the ones that we saw under Jonas Eidevall?
Partly because I think Renee needs to change things up a bit. She needs to mix it up, because we are, I won't say boring Arsenal, but we're predictable.
Yeah.
As Paul was saying, they know what we're doing, and Darren said it as well in the past with the blokes. You've got players, you know exactly what they're going to do. Do we need to switch positions for one or two people? Mix that up. Without lack of penetration, let's say. I mean, I've been hammering on about it all season long about attacking the box, and we're still not doing it. We did it in short bursts against Chelsea second half, against Bayern first half. We attacked the box, and then we just revert to. I mean, at one point on Sunday, we had a throw-in down by their corner flag. 15 seconds later, Daphne's got the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the point of that? But yeah, I think the players, I'd probably say 60-40. 60% players need to look at themselves and talk to each other and kick each other up the arse and say, look, this ain't good enough. We've got to step it up. And Renee has to have the ability to change things around, change the tactics, switch formation if need be.
Yeah.
Just to try and find a way of, not necessarily creating more chances, because we had 13 shots. But they've got to bring the right boots.
Yeah.
Somebody at some point in the very near future is going to get a right hammering when we discover our shooting boots again. Somebody is going to get hammered.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Madrid, but I don't think so.
In terms of, obviously, Darren, I'll come to you with this question. In terms of the lineup on Sunday, the one thing that didn't worry me was the lineup. The one thing that worried me was the bench. Now, I looked at our bench and I thought, that's awful. That bit, if we are struggling in this game with the 11 that's on the pitch, that bench is going to do nothing for us in terms of changing the game. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but that's the way I felt. In terms of Lotte Wubben-Moy or Steph Catley, if one of them went down injured, I certainly wasn't wanting Laia Kadina coming on a pitch. And I know many people have said, oh, but why is Cody not starting? Why is Cody not starting? Well, let's go back to the pre-season game against Spurs. And for most of their goals, there's one person I could tell you that was at fault, and I definitely didn't want her near that pitch on Sunday, and it was Cody in defence. In terms of Frida Manham, I don't think she's up to par. We get glimpses of Frida and we think there's a fantastic player there, but she doesn't give us it every single game. And I am looking for these players to give us it all every single game, and they're not doing it at the moment. Vicky Pullover's not doing it. Kyra Cooney-Cross, I can't really blame in terms of I don't think she's been impressive the last 2 games. I do personally think, yeah, she's not had the game time to show herself or express herself. And I'm going to call it out. The 2 forwards as well are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm not going to be careful, Darren, because I know you're going to come at me for Stina. But let's be honest, the full team as a whole at the moment, it's just not doing the job.
Yeah,
and,
I hear you.
And I know people are like, oh, she needs to change it up. Kevin just touched on it, but Renee needs to change it up. And it's a question.
With what though? Who's she changing it up with? The bench is weak, like you said, with so many injuries at the moment. And oh god, I love Renee, but my gosh, she's got her favourites, and they could be playing, with the left boot on the right foot and other way round, and she'll still frigging pick them for some reason. I like Stina, man. Leave Stina alone. Stop picking on Stina. She tries. I mean, she pulls those teams all over the place with her constant runs. Is it her fault that the team are not finding her after time? It's like, I don't know if it's Kev or Paul said earlier on. Or it might actually be you, Laura. I can't bloody remember. Backwards, sideways. There's never any real intent on moving forward. And Stina, God bless her, she's always pointing where she wants that goddamn ball. And now, half the time, it never bloody receives. She never receives it. And I know. I'm hyped Stina up. I know she needs 40 attempts to score 1 goal, but when she does, what a effing goal it is. But anyway, back to being serious, mate. Our bench is just not strong enough at the moment. The team on the pitch are just not strong enough at the moment. There's quite a few, forgive me for saying this, older players that are probably past their sell-by date with Arsenal. And I will name Steph Catley. That's going to upset 1 or 2 people, but I've not liked her for a long, long time in defence. I don't think she's up to the task. McCabe, we've already spoke about. Caitlin Ford, we've already spoke about. Meadow, a couple. Was it the Chelsea game? She was electric, and we all thought, here we are, we got our Meadow back, and then we need to have a somewhat of investment. And forgive me if I say, but I don't know if anybody see a link that went on to, again, one of the groups the other day. It was a link to Instagram that was showing all the possible targets that we could go for in the summer. Did you see it, Laura?
Yeah, it was Sockadonna that put it up.
Seriously, mate, I was getting
Stanley and stuff was on it.
I was getting so excited looking at some of those names. I would die for some of those to play in the red and white. Die for some of those to play in the red and white. But yes, Chris Russo is amazing. Sorry, I know she's your favourite. There's a lot of shout also. Unfortunately, the Claire Wheatley out gang of raised.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that one now.
Listen, our show on Friday or next Monday, whenever we do it, and there it comes. We're all going to be talking about what a wonderful performance we put in tomorrow night against Real Madrid, because we're going to smash them 6-0 or something like that. But that just papers over the cracks, okay? Yeah. We have a problem here at Arsenal that's been going on for maybe 2, 3, maybe even more seasons. I'm not entirely sure. We won the Champions League by a fluke. I said it, by a fluke. We were lucky to win that game. If the real Barcelona turned up, they would have wiped our asses. We won it. Congratulations. Come on, the Arsenal. But, we didn't really get tested by Barcelona on that game. I don't think. I know a lot of people are going to shoot me down in flames to that one, but I know also one or two people that I was speaking to in the pub on Sunday would pat me on the back and say, "Well done for having the courage to say it. It was a frigging fluke."
I've said it myself, Darren. I said it myself on the watch along the other day. I said that was a fluke for us. That
it really was. It was a wonderful fluke, and it will stay in the memory for a long, long, long time. But we have a problem that we need to solve. Is Claire Wheatley the answer? I don't know. Is Renee the answer? I frigging hope so. We most certainly shouldn't be clamouring for her to lead the club. Give her some time. Give her another season, another 2 seasons at least. If she's got the mettle, it will come forward. Or is she just Jonasy's stooge?
Yeah.
Don't know. We'll find out.
Unfortunately,
if you compare it to the Arsenal men's team a few years ago,
yes, mate.
You had Mikel Arteta came in halfway through the season, and in his first year he won the FA Cup. And after that, he had a massive clear out of players. And if they didn't want to play at the club, he just got rid of them. I mean, was it a couple of them we were still paying part of their wages for like 2 or 3 years just to get rid of them? And is that the sort of conversation that she needs to be having now with these players? Look, if you don't want to be here, then just tell us and we'll ship you off and we'll get someone else in. Yeah. But she needs to be ruthless with those players. And, if they don't want to be here, then, just get rid of them.
And can I say, Paul, as a footnote, that's perfect in reply to what Catherine 4580 says, 08, sorry. I don't think we can expect... Oh, thank you. There it is. We need to let one try and get their tactics out to the players. She hasn't got the players, I don't think. She needs a fresh bunch. You can't change all 11, I get that, but we got a nucleus of a really good squad there. There's some young players and there's some experienced players, but there's some also over-the-hill players that are just collecting a paycheck at the end of each month, as far as I'm concerned. They need to be let go. We need to get some new blood in. Next season might be a painful one again while they bed in. But, 27, 28, that could be our season. But at the moment, we're just treading water and just accepting the crap that they're putting out on the pitch every single week. And we deserve better. Off the pitch, Arsenal are fantastic. 56,000 at Chelsea, 60,000 sellouts the season before. We're massive. Everywhere we go, we sell out. There was a record attendance at Brisbane Lane on Sunday because of the Arsenal. It was only 7,000. I don't know how many Arsenal fans were there, but it was a record attendance for a WSL Tottenham game because of the Arsenal. And we've seen it time and time again. We deserve better than this. We really do.
Yeah. Obviously, Kevin, I'll let you chime in this one, but obviously James has said Renee is the third manager we've had now with the largest chunk of this team of players that need to be moved on, basically, that are up the game. I think as an Arsenal fan over the last few seasons, seeing Steph Catley get a new contract, Caitlin Ford get a new contract, Kate McCabe get a new contract, even Leah Williamson getting a new contract, Beth Mead getting a new contract. These are all players, if you look back in the Joe Montemuro era, that were there. And I don't know if you're in agreement with most Arsenal fans at this point, but these are fan favourites. But those fan favourites are the ones that I feel are holding the team back and need to be moved on from.
Yeah, I think this is where we go back to the Mikel Arteta bit. He was given time to build his squad, and look where they are now. And I think Renee's young enough. She's probably smart enough. And she'll have an idea, or she was building an idea of what she wants. And the club's got to back her in what she wants. I mean, if she's going to go to them in December and say, look, that's the player I need in January. These are a couple of players I need in January. They need to back her and let her build her team with her identity to take us on and get us back where we belong, which is at the top. We haven't got a God-given right to be there. We've got to bloody work for it. But give it a chance and back her and try and get us back there.
Yeah. That's the thing with football these days, isn't it? It's so easy to blame a manager, and it's so easy to get rid of the manager first before actually giving that manager time to settle the dust and bring in their own players. As I said, the biggest majority of these players are from the Joe Montemuro era, and it's probably time to maybe get rid of them and move on and start bringing in talent that obviously suits playing football now and not football that was played like it wasn't 4 years past, But unfortunately, that's football these days, and yeah, it's a sad state of affair, isn't it? So, yeah, obviously, before I move on to the Real Madrid game tomorrow, which I am genuinely dreading myself. I really don't know how we change that, especially with the way we've been playing lately. But yeah, we'll obviously move on to that.
Just one more positive though about the Spurs game. The pie was really nice.
Oh, time out.
Shall I do that? Shall I get on and get all your positives before I move on and maybe have a wee bit of an happy ending to the North London derby?
Paul, I couldn't even cut my pie. It was that frigging rock hard.
The pie with the mash and the liqueur around it was the chicken balti was really good.
No, okay, all right, fair enough. I took your word for the pie and mash, and I went for it. I was disappointed, to say the least.
No, Darren was supposed to be ending that part of the show on a high, not a low.
On a high. I guess the only high from myself and Chris is it only took us half hour to get home. There you go. There's my high. You didn't get a parking ticket, did you, Kev? So there's your high.
Not this time round, I didn't. Stina behaved. Anyway, I'll move on to the Real Madrid North London derby, over and done. As the Arsenal says, we move. But as long as the players come over and give you a clap and thank you for coming and put a lovely wee post up on Instagram to make sure you were happy that they heard you and blah, 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 yada, yada. I'm sick of hearing it myself to this point. I've turned my hearing aids off, so yeah. So obviously the Madrid game, Paul, tomorrow, what do you want to see changed getting into this game?
Well, a bit of passion in the game and actually getting forward and not this keep passing it back. Just change what you're going to do. It's obviously not working. Just get people in the box, get the crosses in. Don't try and walk it into the goal is the key thing. Just get it in there and one of them will go in. You look at how many chances we had, against Spurs, and we just couldn't hit that final ball into the net. But that's due to lack of bodies being in there to do it. So yeah, just get the players in the box.
Yeah. Obviously, Darren, given that a loss for us and a win for Valerenga could put us in the 12th spot, and obviously then that means playoffs for us. That is a worrying position for the defending champions to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other result tomorrow that's going to be good enough for us than a win, particularly if we want to progress. And what do you call that Belgian team? Is it Leuven, however you pronounce it?
Leuven.
I mean, even they're above us at the moment. And I was expecting to go to Belgium next month, and watch an absolute whitewash. Not even sure that's going to happen now. It's worrying times. Some people will be better at the stats, but when was the last time the defending champions didn't get through to either the knockout stages or the quarterfinals? It's probably quite some time ago, particularly if you think it's all the Barças and the Lyon and other teams like that are serial winners. It's a worrying stat for us. I'm like Paul, we need to come out tomorrow. I don't know what the lineup's going to be. I don't even want to guess what the lineup's going to be, but what we can say, it's going to be full of favourites as usual. But they just need to play with a bit of pride, a bit of passion. Look down and see what's there.
Yeah.
It's the badge. And underneath that badge is a heart. and that heart should be beating fully for Arsenal tomorrow night, and they should run their frigging socks off and give the fans something to cheer about as well, okay? Because we're all in it together, so we keep being told. It's not only about what happens on the pitch, it happens what off the pitch. And if they keep going the way they're going at the moment, they're going to start losing all those casual fans as well. And suddenly, you're down to the diehards. And so we're getting like 4,000 or 5,000 people at the Emirates for every single game, because the casuals are going to think, I'm not wasting my money on this. Why would I want to do that? I don't know what the lineup's going to be tomorrow, but do we want to predict it, Laura, at this stage, or do you want to leave that for a bit later?
That leads on to my next question.
Okay.
So it does. So my next question, obviously, Kevin, is Darren just touched on it. She has her favourites, but to me, if she has her favourites, are proven that those favourites have benefited Arsenal in terms of obviously team selection, which has been clear, i.e. Leah, i.e. Kim, and so on. But tomorrow, what lineup would you like to see us through the game?
Well, the problem in the back four is it almost picks itself because of the lack of centre backs.
Good point.
But I would definitely like to see Taylor starting on the left. You can't drop Foxy, unfortunately. We're going to run her into the ground. And if she doesn't get injured before much longer, I don't know, because she runs her socks off every game. And I don't know where she gets the energy from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd definitely like to see Olivia Smith start. And I'd like her to be told, go out there, go for it. And if you run out of steam, then bring Meadow on in the second half. But go out there and try and get the job done. And if Liv Smith is flying down the bloody wing and getting into the positions to cross the ball, as we've been going on about all season long, attack the box, get that across there, even if she hammers it across low. Own goal's a good one. I don't care. Get that deflection off a defender. Who gives a shit? But yeah, again, left wing. Start Chloe. Just give her a go. Give her a start. And if it don't work, then fall back to your favourites.
I'd like to know who our favourites are, Darren, if you can point them out, because I don't think we've had the same starting 11 since the season has started, so I don't I don't agree with you in that favourite thing. I'm sorry, Darren, but
I was just trying to be clever.
Do you see Alessia Russo and Stina Blackstenius starting tomorrow?
Yes, I do. Sorry, is that to me?
To anyone that wants to answer it, if he's
Well, I
already
do personally.
on that one.
I can't see them changing the front two at the moment. Kelly Smith, mid centre, I don't know. I mean, we're not really blessed there, are we? Is Palova injured? Was she on the bench against Tottenham? Does anybody know? Just didn't make it on the pitch? I don't know.
Yeah, Becky Palova was on the bench for.
She was. I mean, having listened to what Professor Paul said about KCC, maybe give her another start. Maybe it is just the minutes she needs. She's not a crap player. Let's be honest about this. As George would say, let's get it right. She is not a shit player. She's a good player. You wouldn't be an Australian international player at that age and have played so many games if you were mediocre. She's a very good player. Maybe she just needs the minute and a bit of structure around her. Maybe she wears the cross a little bit too heavy, trying to be the new Kim Little. I don't know. But anyway, Paul's right. Paul. Kev's right. The back four pretty much picks itself. DVD, whether she's in a lack of form or confidence, don't know. I think she's all right at the moment. She's always.
I've noticed that she's not been selected for the Holland squad.
Excuse me. What was the reason for that? I didn't see that.
There has currently been no reason of why she hasn't been selected.
I think she's still carrying a knock.
I noticed that she was heavily strapped back under the knee again, under her sock on Sunday. So she was. So I don't know if again, as Kevin said, she's carrying that injury again. Obviously, we noticed that Alessia Russo heavily strapped. Chloe, obviously, at this moment in time, we still think she's carrying a knock. And it's just purely shown that and Mariona as well, we're noticing that she's not up to par. And it's just simply because these players have been run right into the ground. And obviously, it doesn't help with the schedule. But Paul, touching on this one, would you agree with this question? Is Jenna Knightswonger as your CDM?
Give her a try.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, she's had hardly any game time with us since she joined. I think possibly Crystal Palace last season, she got a start.
Yeah.
At left back, but other than that, I can't remember her starting a competitive game for us. But yeah, I'd definitely give her a try there again. Kyra for a couple of games. If that doesn't work out, then put Jenna in for a couple of games and see how she does.
Yeah.
Again, she can't do much worse, can she?
I've always been suitably impressed by Jenna. Every time she comes on, I know it's only a few minutes here and a few minutes there, and one can't necessarily gauge the level of a player through a few substitution appearances. But she come on against Leicester, didn't she, for a good 20 minutes, I think it was, and she held her own. She was quite good. A few times I see her last season, she held her own. She was all right. Let's give her a start. I think Catherine's maybe onto something there. And she's also on to something where she says, push Mariona high up the pitch. Well, we've been saying that for how long now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're noticing that Alessia Russo and Stina Blackstenius seem to be playing a lot more together at the moment while Kim is out, simply because, to me, Renee relies on Alessia Russo doing a lot more of the defensive work, because we know Alessia can put in the hard work defensively if she's asked to do it. And I simply think that's obviously why Stina and Russo are on the same pitch at the moment, because we don't have that CDM. So, unfortunately, then we're not getting the best out of Alessia Russo, but simply because she's asked to do another position, as most of the players are doing at the moment, until we possibly see Leah back or Kimmy back. It just depends on what time frame those girls are back. So, Paul, I'll come to you. Next question that I have: should Arsenal fear Real Madrid tomorrow?
I think that's the worst thing they can do, is go into a game fearing someone. They need to go out there with the confidence of winning. But the way we're playing at the moment, anyone can beat us. is the reality. They know what we're going to do. They know we're predictable, and they'll have worked on that. They'll have worked it over the last few days. They'll have looked at every single player and, this is what they're going to do. This is how many times they're going to pass it back. And they'll work on that, and they'll take advantage of our weakness in that scenario. So Renee needs to get those players doing something different and shake it up a bit. This is knockout football time, realistically.
Yeah.
We're halfway through our Champions League league stage now, and we're already into the case of we drop 3 points again, and we're really in trouble.
Yeah. It's not, as I touched on before, it's not a great position for Arsenal to be in as defending champions, and teams in the Champions League must be definitely looking at Arsenal and going, how the fuck did they win it last season? Because they're poor, and I'm sorry for that F-bomb if there's children watching, but I am genuinely, as a fan, and that's why I said it the other day before Darren came on tonight and said we must have been so fluky last season. But I also had the debate on the Arsenal Women's Forum that people were coming in and saying, the performances are poor, and my answer back to them was, we have started the last 3 seasons poor, but we've still come away with some sort of silverware. And that's, to me, it's not good enough. But we're doing something near the end of the season to come away with that silverware, and that's just the glimmer of hope that Arsenal give us at the moment. And of course, throughout the season, we've been asking for more from them. Give us more, and we've said it season after season after season, and we just don't seem to be getting it. They would do, and it's getting frustrating. It really is. But I suppose as an Arsenal fan, we will be there week in, week out, singing our songs as loud as we possibly can. And as somebody says, you've got these fair weather fans that just want to go when the sun is shining, and unfortunately, that's not football. So it is. But yeah,
the casuals will lose.
Sorry, Darren.
The casuals that we will lose unless we're bloody careful.
Yeah.
And they generate revenue. Arsenal must remember that. They do generate a lot of revenue for the club as well, particularly when you're filling out the Emirates. You know, sorry, that's a work call. I'm going to put my myself on mute. I need to take this call.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So obviously, I'll go round and get predictions for tomorrow, and then that'll be us for the end of the show. I'm glad I've been able to take us up to an hour, because I was genuinely struggling to find the positives to ask you for this podcast, and I genuinely thought halfway through this they'll just cut me off because it's so negative at the moment, isn't it? So yeah. So Paul, what's your predictions for tomorrow?
It's either going to be one extreme or the other. We're going to see out a goalless 0-0 boring draw, or we're going to come out all guns blazing and do them 5 or 6-0. I can't see it being, a 1 or 2-0. It's going to be one way or the other.
Yeah, Kevin.
Oh God, Leslie's going to find her boots. 3-0, Russo hat-trick.
So optimistic.
Provided we can resist their high press, because you know they're going to come at us.
Yeah.
So Lotta needs to put in a performance and a half.
Especially with Linda Caicedo, I think Mariona touched on that today in the press conference. That's as one we have to watch. Caroline Weir, we have to be careful of as well. We know what she can be like, even though she's shit for Scotland when she pulls that top on. But for some weird reason, when it comes to the big games, Caroline Weir seems to pop up. Darren, what's your score predictions for tomorrow?
Oh, mate. Seriously.
Head or heart?
Heart. 3-1 Arsenal. Head. We lose 2-1.
I don't know, to be honest with you, about my one. I really, do genuinely think
it pains me to say it. It really does. I don't like to, want my team to lose, but if we see the same level of performances that we have first half against Chelsea, the whole of the Spuds game, Leicester was different. It's Leicester, isn't it?
The Bayern game, obviously.
The Bayern game. Oh, I mean, what a first half, though. Oh my God! And what happened in the second half? Oh my God. Anyway, we're a team with two halves at the moment, aren't we? But I desperately want us to win tomorrow night, because we're not going to progress through otherwise. The Belgian team, Louvain, will probably turn us over as well. So we desperately need to get 3 points tomorrow. But no matter what, though, those in the North Bank will be having fun. We'll have fun. Back to the wall. Love it.
I do think we'll get beat tomorrow 3-1.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
At least I only said 2-1.
No, 3-1. 3-1, I think we'll get beat.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a good
I really
feeling.
hope we're wrong.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong as well, but that's just genuinely how I'm feeling at the moment. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's genuinely what my heart is telling me. So yeah. Before I end the show, I'm going to give you Catherine's stat of the day. So It's a new segment that we're going to try and squeeze in. So, Catherine's stat of the day is the only top 4 team that the refs seem to hate more than Arsenal is Man United. United have received 20 more fouls and 4 more yellows than Arsenal. This is over the last 3 seasons from the top 4 refs.
We could have a whole show on the incompetency of referees, but let's not go there today. We could always have a whole show. George keeps threatening to have a whole show about transfers. I think as we approach the winter break, we should maybe have a look at that as well, particularly some of those players that were mentioned on that Instagram post. And let's do half transfers and half how shit the referees are.
I'll try and arrange that one for you, Darren. I can't promise anything. It needs to come for the boss. Unfortunately, the boss is not well at the moment, and that's the reason why I'm hosting tonight.
Yeah, he's not even dropped any comments, so he must be quite poorly.
Yeah, he did say he was going to try and get in the comments, but he's pulled the week off. Obviously, stopped him from doing that. So, but obviously, hopefully next week George will be back with us, and hopefully it's a more positive show. Hopefully Arsenal by that point have gave us something to put the smile back on our faces, and yeah. So, Paul, thank you very much for joining me tonight. It's appreciated.
Well, thank you as always.
Darren?
What?
I don't have any words for you. I really don't.
Listen, the fact of the matter is, if we don't win tomorrow, then we've got a 2-week break. If we do win tomorrow, then we've got a 2-week break.
Yeah, and I still have to go to work the next day, so I'm not bothered about that one.
And then we can just look forward to all these meaningless internationals where more players are going to get hurt. Very quickly, Gabriel, men's team, he's out for the season now, isn't he? I've been hearing because of a needless injury in a needless game. These players are playing. There you go. There's another topic we could talk about. How many games these girls and boys have to frigging play. Sorry.
Talk about the boss 3 times and he comes into the chat.
Well, we're about to go, George. You're too late, mate. But thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
I do appreciate you coming on. You're some man, so yeah, you.
I don't know whether it's a compliment or not.
Kevin, thank you very much. I really
always a pleasure, never a chore.
You're a man as well, Kev, by the way, so you don't feel left out.
These are all the man. Like who decides? Let's have a women's host and 3 men. That's
we know our place.
George, that is a poor excuse. You just woke up. That is terrible.
Yawn. You have to watch it back now, George. Best show ever.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm going to let you go for this evening, and I'm going to let the chat go. And as George always says, please like and subscribe, guys. Make sure you follow along for any more shows coming up in the future, which is most likely going to be, I don't know if there's one near the end of the week, or if he's going to do one on Monday when he's back.
Depends on tomorrow night's result.
Yeah.
Depends. It does depend on that, Kevin. But yeah, I do appreciate, obviously, he's all coming in. I know I couldn't really get through the comments. It was the good old host took over and got their feelings out, and they can go to bed knowing that they've let that stress go. But yeah, obviously tomorrow, hopefully it's a better result. And yeah, we can come back happy, and we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you very much, and good evening.